Hello and welcome to today's show. Today we're going to replace the winch on my 450 ES Honda Foreman. It had a 1,500 pound super winch, I think it was, when I put it on there when I got the unit. Maybe it may be 10 years instead of 12 years old, but it was on there pretty quick after I got the four-wheeler. The old one burned out this summer, cleaning fence road, dragging trees. So it needed a new one. I found one online, decent price. Wintertime's a good time to do it. Kind of slow down in the yard and around the place here. Found $129, shipping, taxes type thing. Everything pretty well much you need. Now I'm gonna have to make a mount. It looks like I don't see a good way to mount the circuit breakers. I'll have to work something out with that. But looks like plenty of wire, everything I need but the plate itself, and the same brand, SUPERWINCH to SUPERWINCH. I hope the bolt pattern on the plate that remains in this unit is going to work out. So, you know, who knows? Let's get to it. Ran the negative cable, of course, being 3,000 pound, it's like a number 6, which is significantly larger than the last one, and of course wired completely different. So sneak that in there, avoiding chafing, and taking the fender well out. Same thing on the positive, sneaking it through here, keeping it clear of the exhaust, because this is the exhaust side. You want to, you know, keep this nice and tucked up under there. Let me turn the light on. See the loom tubing, a little bit of blue. We use that to protect from chafing. This one had to pull the whole fender well out to get to it. There we get a little bit better picture of the loom tubing. There's a little extra red wire. I got to tuck that back in there. Wire tied in there. What that is a straight from the battery on a fuse, so that the battery charger my cell phone can work, because it was working off the ignition switch. Turn the ignition off, the 12-volt cigarette lighter like thing dies. So that means you can't charge your cell phone when your key out. And so that little wire goes back to a little, I think, a 10-amp switch or fuse back in the back. And I also use that to fire the two switches. Turn the light back off. You see this? You have to drill a hole in your four-wheeler somewhere to mount for your remote. It's just a hot, and the switch takes it to the AB coil front and reverse. Got a handlebar switch, forward and reverse, momentary. And unfortunately I had to pull a light out to get the room, because there's not enough physical room. Let me turn the light back on. There's not enough physical room to get to the bolts, to bolt the winch down onto the plate on this Honda and get the plate in there. And you have to pull out, if you can see, there's the computer there. You have to pull the computer off the mount, pull it out of the way, pull the light out of the way, and the fender out, slide the winch in from this side. Now I made a mount out of a piece of aluminum. I think it's like a 3/4 by 3/4, 1 inch by 1 inch. Use a little piece of radiator hose or heater hose to do anti-chafing. You see where it comes across. The top of that is smooth and polished, I guess, sanded off, but I still want a piece of loom tubing to prevent chafing. Same thing, way up there on the top where the two come together. So basically, wherever it's possible, you try to avoid the vibration that might rub through your insulation. There is more than enough wire. I trimmed a bunch of that off, just cut it, resoldered, shrink tubed the connection back so that I wouldn't have such a mollygog of a mess up underneath there. Power picked up under here where I had taken off the original from the wiring system of the bike that you turn the switch off, this goes dead. I had wired a hot wire straight from the battery through a fuse back there under the seat. So in case I get a short anywhere along the system, it just blows the fuse up underneath the seat. But this is my charger for the cell phone when I'm in the woods. And so the other connection was just fine and dandy for the two switches. So the way that works is, unless you're got the ignition on, and hopefully the concept is unless you're running and therefore not ruining the battery with that massive inrush of that 3,000-pound winch, that you can't actually operate the winch. So that's pretty well much the run through of it. Hopefully give you some ideas. Like I say, the mount is just mounted off of the vertical support of the front rack there. It's just mounted up nice and high and tight to get it out of the water and the way. And you know, turn the light back on. Flash, emergency. There we go. That has it nice, I think, high and out of the way. Well, we're going to spray paint the last 4 feet of rope lead coming in front of the fair lead there. Actually, you see it's got a little spot right there, but it's pretty light, and as you can see from a distance, kind of hard to see if you've got it fed out there a little bit. Well, there you have it. It's installed, it's tested, it's working. Had to flip the connector on the outside. Everything buttoned up, worked out real well. $14, I think, for that little piece of aluminum. Didn't use very much of it. A couple of dollars for the U-bolts. The rest of it, of course, I shortened the wires. You don't have to do that. I shortened it for neatness so I wouldn't have so much bundled up underneath there. Clean that up a little bit. I found the connections, the little plastic water tightness wasn't too watertight, so I taped it with some Scotch 33 plus. 88 plus is also real good. If it's likely to get abrasion tucked up under there, it's not going to get abraded any. But this is new. My other one didn't have. This is so next time you pull a stupid, drop it down in the mud hole, get stuck somewhere. If you get it keyed in there right, you can go ahead and pull yourself out of the mud hole and operate it this way. And of course it still has, of course, the standard pull switch that you often use if you're going to be dragging a log or a tree or something like that. Since projects, I've got a couple other projects, 2 projects in the work which I haven't released yet. They had to be done in conjunction with pulling this off because, quite frankly, you know, proper plating prevents piss poor performance. Got them out of the way, one of which was replacing the box, so we now have a place to put our hand cable. as well as the other stuff that we often carry when we go in the woods, and the chainsaw and tool and that sort of thing. So appreciate you watching, and hope it's never too much of a waste of your time. You may not want to put one exactly on the same type of unit, certainly not one that's going to be 12 years old, but the same basic principles are going to get to you. How are you going to get it there? Try to get it up out of the water, common sense, to give you a little bit of idea. And I think I'll probably show you some pictures in there about shrink tubing down. You can shorten your wires if you want, or you end up with a big wad up on there. I like to just keep all my stuff up front. I brought all the power to the front, circuit breaker in the back, brought the power to the front, mounted a contactor over here in this corner where I could get to it. I felt that would be better because I'm still going to have to get to the computer. You know, it's the original one, but I want to be able to get to the services stuff. I got to get this out. Had to take off basically that whole side, the plastic, whole 9 yards to get everything exposed, get down to the frame where you get the wires through so that they wouldn't. You don't have to worry about the black wire from the back to the relay chafing. It's ground. But the wire up front, you need to watch that, because when the relay switches from forward to reverse, black becomes hot and positive, the red wire becomes negative, and it switches. That's how DC motor works. So the other black wire, the short black wire, you want to make sure you don't like let it rub up against metal and chafe. Same way. Other than that, use wire loom on some wires, keep everything up and rub it, and you ought to be in good shape, because you don't want to be out in the middle of a big hunt or in the woods or sweating working somewhere and have the thing lay down on you.